Okay, I'm thinking if I should drop this bomb right now. Yo, 20% of the world's gas is cooked.
Yeah.
20% of the world's gas, FYI, is cooked. Nobody's talking about this shit. All the Gulf leaders were calling the White House frantically, okay? Calling the White House frantically, trying to end this war. They know that they can't get it ended. Who they call next? Moscow. They call Putin.
Yep.
They call Big Daddy Putin, nigga. Right?
Big bro Putin.
For Big Bro
Help us.
Putin. Right? Because that's what it is. These Gulf state niggas are cooked.
Yeah.
They can't rely on American defense anymore. So what are they doing?
Well, I said.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I said earlier, just very quickly to add this as well, then finish. I said earlier, there's so many negative back end effects of this war. One of the shadow effects that no one's talking about, after this is concluded, whether it's tomorrow or in the next few years, these Gulf nations that their main source of economic freedom and power, by the way, is oil. Once they see the United States as such a liability and their assets in their country is such a bro, you don't think they're going to lean more towards these powers in the East like China and Russia? You're sadly mistaken.
See,
This is going to destroy our credibility with these Gulf countries. Go ahead.
yeah, this is why me and my brother are the best at this shit. I told y'all this. I'm going to say it again. Nobody comes close when it comes to geopolitical analysis in this region. I'm saying it right now, bro. We are the best. So Qatar, right? Qatar Energy, LNG. You guys got to know, the Gulf states, all of their money comes from energy, whether it's oil, gas, etc. Qatar is a very rich country. They rely upon us for their defense, okay? What Iran has basically shown by attacking these Gulf state countries is like, yo, the U.S. can't save you niggas, and they care about the more than you, okay? That's what Iran's been proving. They're hitting on with drones, they're hitting on with missiles, they're destroying a lot of the infrastructure, and you guys got to remember, some dumb nigga on Twitter said, well, Qatar and Bahrain, all these different countries, they've knocked down like 90% of the Iranian missiles or in the drones. Are you stupid? That doesn't matter. They only need a little bit to get through. Do you realize that one successful drone attack is setting your gas prices up? Do they not know that just like one successful missile hitting a strategic location is going to cook everything? Like, guys, these energy locations are not designed for war. One drone knocks one pipe, cooked, wrap. Niggas are stopping production for weeks, okay? So, Qatar Energy, LNG, something like 20% of the world's natural gas comes from these guys, okay? Here's the problem. They've stopped production. Why is this an issue? As you guys know, Europe has beef with Russia. What's the next country that could provide this level of gas quickly through pipelines? Moscow, my friends. But here's the problem. The European Union has been sanctioning the out of Russia. They can't go ahead and buy that gas. So now Europe's in a weird spot because you either A, lift the sanctions, do business with Moscow, as they're bombing the out of Ukraine, who you vowed to defend, right? Or you're not going to have your energy for next winter, and y'all niggas are cooked. So it's like, what are you going to do?
True.
What are you going to do?
True.
So this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Like, the Iranians are perfectly executing asymmetric warfare. This is not about beating the United States. This is about creating an enormous amount of pressure economically on everyone so that they have to go to Trump and say, you guys got to stop this war. This is asymmetric warfare. And I'll tell y'all, dumb Sean Hannity ain't going to tell y'all about this. Dumb CNN ain't going to tell y'all niggas about this. They're not going to talk about any of this stuff because this is where the pain is going to start coming. Now, Europe's got to bend the knee to get in good graces with Russia again, okay? And they might not do it. We're talking about energy prices going up another 50% because, guys, keep in mind, Qatar was supposed to handle all that business. The sanctions that they built in the European Union against Russia were all on the foundation of Qatari gas, okay? They were basing everything, hedging all their bets on, we have an alternative here. Well, that alternative is now cooked.
Yep.
So the Iranians are helping the Russians. The Gulf states are losing their minds. And this is going to create an enormous amount of pressure. Because I know some of you guys are saying, well, I don't know about Europe, Myron. I don't give a shit about Germany, nigga. What? I don't care. Well, here's the thing. These guys are NATO partners. We work with them. They're going to put an enormous amount of political pressure on the United States. If Trump says, well, I'm not going to bend or fold. Okay, nigga. We're not going to do trade with you no more on XYZ. Who's going to feel it? We are. Right? Markets start to go crazy. You know, gold price go up, gas price goes up. And at some point, you're going to feel it. Right? So war never benefits anybody, bro. Okay? And this is what the Iranians planned. This is what the Iranians had in mind. They warned us. They said, if you attack us, we are going to conduct asymmetric warfare. And this is what they're doing. They're going to attack strategic locations all across the Middle East like they've been doing. They've gotten these military bases pretty much out of here.
They hit a Saudi oil refinery, the biggest one in the country.
So they're saying that the might have done that. The Iranian media has said that the Israelis might have done it as a false flag. But either
Yeah,
way,
I said that earlier. That's what Tucker Carlson was referring to as well. And as well as Qatar. They said that there were some explosions in Qatar that could have been done by the Mossad. But regardless, even if
it doesn't matter.
it's
The
via the
economic,
tension from Iran.
yeah, whether it's or Iran, it doesn't matter because the economic effect is going to be felt. So it's catastrophic economically. So, like, this is what you guys need to keep in mind when we're talking about this war. This isn't just about destroying Iran's infrastructure, whatever. That's not what matters, bro. These guys are going to hit us where it hurts economically. They're going to make the people suffer. They know they can't beat the United States militarily, and even Israel. They know they can't. But what they can do is create a lot of pain where there's an enormous amount of international pressure on our allies to make the United States stop the war. And then Iran's going to hold the cards. Larry Johnson was talking about this earlier today from the CIA. Like, now that Iran can say, all right, okay, you niggas want us to stop bombing these fields? Cool. You need to lift the sanctions.
Yeah. That's why I said diplomacy is a lot less likely. And if it is, they're going to come with some stipulations that are really difficult for the United States to accept. And something else as well. Where is China in all of this? Or actually, before I even get into China, to vindicate what you were saying, I don't know if you saw yesterday, a Saudi official had said that the United States betrayed Saudi Arabia by moving their air defense from Saudi Arabia and prioritizing Israel. So not only did we expose the fact that we don't give a fuck about these Gulf countries, but we showed that Israel is at the top of our laundry list.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we expose ourselves in regards to the fact that we're so cucked. We're not defending these Gulf countries, by the way, that were attacked unprovokingly. They did nothing. They have nothing to do with this conflict. They're first world countries. They're super safe like the United States. And so at least in Israel, they're used to the bombing and they have bombing shelters set up for this because they know they cause problems in the region. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, all these other countries are not set up to deal with military advancement from a country as technologically advanced with a missile system like Iran. So now Saudi Arabia is feeling betrayed. Where's China in all of this? They get to sit back and be uninvolved and make some sort of benefit from this oil export being cut off by the Strait of Hormuz, because even though Iran exports all that oil to China and they pay a cheap price for it because of the economic sanctions, now they could just go to Russia. They can go to somebody else and build a closer alliance. And that axis is going to form. If it takes a few years or it's now, that side of the world are aligned with Iran. And that's horrible for us. I tweeted this yesterday, bro. I literally said, you can say the United States is strong and big and bad and we have infinite missiles. I know that. The United States beats the next 10 countries in military spending combined. Yeah. That's not a secret, dumb. The problem is that's a pivotal region. And if we lose influence and hegemony there, we're cooked, because Russia and China have been desperately waiting for this ever since the 90s, bro. Yeah. Ever since the Soviet Union fell, these niggas have been waiting for the scale to tip the other way. And this is a pivotal moment that will take the first step in that direction. That's why this war is horrible for us.
And all the Iranians need to do is, they don't need to beat the United States. All they have to do is make it very painful for the Gulf states to not host American air power there anymore and American influence. Yep. And here's the thing, if they cause enough damage, you know what's going to happen? United States is going to say, hey, we know that we had a war and everything. Like, can we come back and rebuild? Them niggas will say, nope. Get the out of here, bruh. Hell no.
We saw the first sign of this. What happened September 9th when they bombed Qatar? Israel bombed Qatar. Mohammed bin Salman said, yo, Pakistan, we need an alliance now because we cannot fucking deal with these Americans.
And that nigga said, thank you, come again. Happened. We got the nukes. Come over here. Yep. We will take care of you.
And then Israel the other day does what? They meet with India and try to strengthen their relations as well. Like, are we not seeing what's happening? Yeah. The region is moving away from American dependence. Yeah. American dependence is why we are the strongest country in the world by far. If we lose that, there will be a domino effect that will weaken our economy, whether it's tomorrow or it's in 30 years. As long as we keep getting into these forever wars with these Middle Eastern nations, you can bet the United States will lose influence real time.
And just so y'all know,
it's terrifying. Go ahead.
No, these Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia, yo, like, I'm not saying that these niggas are innocent either. Like, these niggas play both sides. You know, they moved away from the petrodollar or whatever. Like, all they needed was something like this to say, all right, nigga, we're going to Russia, bro. We're going to Russia and China. Yeah. Like, these niggas can't even protect us. That's the only reason they deal with us. We're supposed to protect them. And what's happening? They're getting up. They're getting up. So I'm looking at it like, okay, when this is all said and done, they might not let us have a base there anymore. They're going to be like, yo, y'all niggas are causing problems, bro. Like, we'd rather have a Chinese base over here. At least the Chinese are going to build infrastructure and they're not going to get into wars. And we can do trade with them. Like, all upside. Chinese don't get into wars. We'll get the same firepower without the issues. We're good, bro. We're going to deal with the Chinese now. Because what you guys got to understand is there's three main superpowers. You got the United States, Russia, China. All three of these countries are fighting for influence. Okay? Right now, we have the most influence in the world, but our lead is quickly dissipating. And as our lead is dissipating, the issue is that every geopolitical error that we make is amplified because these niggas are catching up. We're slowing down and they're catching up. So the name of the game now is, can you offer real protection? We were able to do that for a very long time, right? But obviously, you know, we've been involved in all these wars. We've shown weakness here and there. We've had blunders with like what we did with Afghanistan, whatever. So Russia and China are kind of like just rubbing their hands like, okay, now we can kind of get in this and we can make America look weak. That's all they need to do is make us look weak. Even if we're not weak and we're stronger than them still, all they need to do is create the influence and say, well, we can protect you. Well, we can provide you with X, Y, Z. And then what happens? Our currency gets weaker, their currency gets stronger, dollar loses power. Nigga, you're going to be paying $5,000 for an iPhone. Like, I don't think you guys understand that they're trying to de-dollarize the world. If the world is de-dollarized, we are not going to live the same quality of life. We print too much money, bro. When you print a lot of money, money loses value. The only reason that our dollar's propped up is because it's the reserve currency and it's backed by Saudi oil or oil in general. Because the Gulf states agreed to do a majority of their oil deals in U.S. currency. That is what props us up, guys. The military, the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar, right? Reserve currency status, petrodollar. And then the last thing that props us up is SWIFT. And SWIFT is also becoming undermined. The Russians have proven that you don't need to be on SWIFT to make money and become a strong economy. They found ways around it. The Iranians also found ways around it. China coming out with different ways to send money that where you don't have to touch the American international system with SWIFT. So all the pillars of American power, again, guys, write this shit down if you need to understand this shit. America is built on 4 pillars. Number 1, reserve currency status. Number 2, the petrodollar. Number 3, the U.S. military. Number 4, SWIFT. Okay? If any of these 4 erode or are gone, it's going to significantly hurt our ability to stay the world superpower. We are now in a multipolar world. Go ahead, bro.
No, absolutely. And they all tie in, by the way. If we lose the currency status, then we can't outspend all these other countries on military spending. The only reason we military spend so much is because, of course, we're very worried about security and influence, but we won't have that same leverage if our currency and our reserve, our petrodollar, loses its influence. And another thing that's important too is, I said this in a previous stream, the world is starting to slowly but surely sift away from oil, any type of oil, regardless of what it is. And so you'll notice a lot of these countries like Sudan, like Libya, and other countries in North Africa have a ton of natural resources like gold, silver, all these other lithium, all this shit that's made for batteries and stuff. And these electric cars are on the rise. You'll notice, and you saw a sign of this, I believe it was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, Russia borrowed a ton of gold from Sudan to combat the economic sanctions that the United States and the world has been placing on them. You're going to see other countries start to move in this direction. So not only are we losing our influence in the Middle East, but other countries are starting to realize that there's a way to undermine the United States. It's by capitalizing off of these rare earths. So if that's the case, that's fine. I'm not saying the United States is going to lose influence just because of that. But if we go to a war in the Middle East for no reason, a war that's going to hurt our influence there, like my brother said, it's going to accelerate that process drastically. So that's another thing to pay attention to. As time progresses, the world is making different things a priority. And the different priorities that the world uses or makes a priority, the United States has to be ahead of that curve and find a way to capitalize on it. If we're so worried and occupied about helping Israel and defending Israel, well, then it's not going to do much. And regime change in Venezuela gives us a little bit of an oil boost. But again, that's not going to give us a long-term answer for a long-term problem. Rather, that's a short-term fix for a long-term issue. And we exposed how weak our petrodollar was by doing regime change. Not that I'm against it because I like Nicolas Maduro. I could care less. I actually thought it was an aura move by Trump. But again, it plays into the whole currency thing that kind of hurts our image and our moral high ground that we've been using against Russia strategically, by the way, to place sanctions on them.
Yep. So anyway, now you guys kind of know we're giving you guys information through a fire hose. I really feel bad because like niggas are probably Googling this shit like what the is going on and we're getting information overload. But yeah, guys, this is what the is going on, bro, in the world. Like, this shit is very serious. A lot of people sit there and say, like, politics is jester. No, bro, you're a jester if you don't follow this shit, nigga, because you're going to look like a jester when you're losing your mind. Your jimmies are Russell when your gas prices are triple. Bro, what's a barrel of oil right now, nigga? Let's look at this shit. Hold on. Let's look at gold. When gold prices go up, that's not a good... Yeah, bro. Oh, man. Okay.
It's gone up. Yep.
It's gone up. Okay, let's look at a barrel of oil right now. And, yo, I'm telling y'all, niggas, you're going to all feel this, bro. Yeah, it's up. In the 70s, almost $80. So this is going to go up by tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, it's going to get up to 100, bro.
It's going to get up to 100 probably by this week, bro.